Good afternoon. I'm here with Secretary Tessler and General Manager Poptak and many members of the TEA's Accelerated Construction Team. We're here to talk about the end of the 30-day shutdown of the Orange Line and parts of the Green Line extension. We all know that the last 30 days have been inconvenient and complicated for riders, and we appreciate their patience and their willingness to adapt as the T did a ton of necessary work to accelerate infrastructure investments and service improvements across the system. We're also grateful to the many MBTA employees, to our union partners, and to the contractors that have worked basically day and night over the course of the past 30 days from one end of the Orange Line to the other. The MBTA's focus has been and will continue to be on providing safer and more reliable T service for both its riders and its employees. And with the closure over the last 30 days, the T's been able to complete 5 years of improvements to track and signal infrastructure, while also addressing safety actions on a much faster timeline. Much of the track replacement work associated with this closure made the Orange Line safer and was in response to many of the directives from the FTA. Track conditions enforced the T to implement slow zones for trains to operate at reduced speeds, and by replacing thousands of feet of rail, the T's been able to eliminate those slow zones and give riders a faster and more reliable service. Without the 24-hour access, the T would have faced 5 years of weekend and evening diversions to get to the same place. And this was not the first shutdown the T's executed. They've been successful in the past in accelerating infrastructure upgrades by shutting down lines for extended periods of time, and we knew at the beginning of this that it would work. However, it is the longest service diversion overseen by the T for an entire line, and despite the short-term impacts, we believe it will deliver long-term benefits for riders and employees. Over the last 30 days, the T's been able to eliminate 6 slow zones, one at Jackson Square in Stony Brook, State and Downtown Crossing, Tufts Medical Center in Back Bay, Community College in North Station, and 2 slow zones between Assembly and Wellington along the Dana Bridge, which will result in faster service and shorter trip times. The impact of that work will be felt in about a week, while the new track and ballast will settle as trains run over the areas where the slow zoning work was done. All in, they replaced 14,000 feet of rail and more than 2,000 railroad ties. I do want to put some of this in context. The shutdowns that have taken place over the course of the past 5 to 6 years, the Green Line has replaced 35,000 feet of rail, along with many other similar kinds of projects that have taken place over the course of the past few years. In addition, 400 rail fasteners, the so-called Cologne eggs, somebody someday needs to tell me where that means, were installed and upgraded to lessen vibrations and noise and for a more comfortable ride, especially through corners. Signals at Oak Grove and Malden Center were upgraded to digital, which will reduce time and maintenance, and they've upgraded 2 important crossovers at Ruggles and Jackson Square so the trains can move more easily between tracks. Starting tomorrow, riders will see predominantly new Orange Line cars on the entire line, with 72 cars ready to go. Before the shutdown, the line was operating with approximately 30 new cars. In addition to this work, the T also replaced Sullivan Square Station roof and canopy, made Forest Hill Station fully accessible, and updated the accessibility at Oak Grove as well. We're also pleased that the Green Line service between Union Square and Government Center will resume tomorrow after the T accomplished important work to get ready to open the Medford branch of the Green Line later this fall. And while the work is complete, the T knows, obviously, that there's much more work to be done. They'll continue to make progress and improvements throughout the system this fall, and we look forward to seeing increased benefits as a result for riders. I'll turn it over now to General Manager Poptak. We'll get into some of the detail on this work with some additional updates as well. And thanks again to the team. You guys did an outstanding job, and we really appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're really pleased to be here on the very last day of the 30-day shutdown in Orange Line service. We've completed our work on schedule, and we're ready to welcome back riders to the Orange Line at the start of service beginning tomorrow. There has been a tremendous amount of choreography, coordination, and hard work to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish over the last 30 days. When our teams and our contractor partners are provided with complete and unencumbered access to the entirety of the Orange Line, we are able to get an awful lot of work done. We did a dozen priority projects to replace rail, track, signals, rail fasteners that would have taken us 5 years of nights and weekends to accomplish. We've replaced 14,000 feet of rail and more than 2,000 rail ties. As the governor mentioned, we've been able to eliminate 6 slow zones, which will allow for faster service. I do want to set expectations for our customers. We leave those slow zones in place for a number of days. Once our track and safety departments have certified that it is safe to lift the speed restriction, we'll be lifting those speed restrictions over the next week. We've done a lot of additional work beyond the priority projects, things like weatherproofing the Sullivan Square roof and canopy. We've also done special track work, including upgraded crossovers at Ruggles and Jackson Square. And I think the now famous Cologne eggs, we've replaced 400 of those right here between this station and Back Bay. We were able to lay 45,000 feet of new signal cable in the Southwest Corridor. We've done a tremendous amount of work at Oak Grove, making upgrades to that station, and finally executing on our long-held goal of making that station fully accessible. We've exceeded our goal of getting 60 new vehicles ready to go for service tomorrow, and we will have 72 new Orange Line cars ready for service during the peak tomorrow. In terms of providing alternative service, we want to obviously thank all the teams that worked so hard. We want to thank our customers for their patience. One of the things that we will keep in place after this surge are a few of the changes that we've made on the commuter rail system. The Oak Grove station will now be a regular stop on the Haverhill line going forward. We are also going to keep 9 of the new train stops at Forest Hill Station that were added during the shutdown. This allows 2 trains per hour on the weekday morning inbound peak schedule at that station. Those schedules will be available at mbta.com/CR very shortly. I want to thank our partners at Keolis for their creativity and their willingness to work with us during this. I do want to remind our commuter rail riders that regular fare collection will resume with first trains tomorrow. Riders are no longer able to simply show their regular Charlie card for access. They are going to have to show proof of payment to the conductors. Beyond the Orange Line, I'm also pleased to announce that Green Line service will be resuming on schedule between Union Square and Government Center at the beginning of service tomorrow. That has allowed us to get a lot of important work done on that part of the Green Line. We're going to be able to lift a slow zone that's going over the East Cambridge Viaduct. We've also done a great deal of testing on both of the branches, which puts us in a position to be ready to open the Medford branch later this fall. I want to say thank you to a number of parties that were critical to this effort. First, I want to thank the municipalities that worked with us throughout to inform our customers, to allow us to provide alternative service as best we could. I also want to thank, and we'll hear from the Secretary shortly, our partners at MassDOT, particularly the Highway Department, for coordinating with us on exceptionally short notice. Their help was really indispensable. I want to thank our Orange Line riders for their patience during this shutdown. We know this was inconvenient. I've ridden so many shuttles that I truly have a sense of the additional time that it took. But we are very excited as an organization to welcome our riders back to a faster, safer, more reliable Orange Line. And last, I want to thank 2 groups of people. First, all the people who did work on this project at the various contractors, the folks who drove the shuttle buses, the transit ambassadors, and everyone who contributed outside of the MBTA to making this work. And I want to close by extending my deep gratitude to the MBTA workforce for the unbelievable amount of work that they have done. The people that you see behind you represent just a small portion, but really the leadership that led this organization to be able to accomplish this work. And I can't tell you how much time, how much effort, straight through the weekend. I think everyone was on an 8 a.m. call this morning, and everyone was half punchy because they've been on these calls for 29 days. But they did it because they believe in the team, they believe in the service that we provide to our customers. And I think it is that belief that will bring this organization forward. I truly believe we are turning a corner with this Orange Line surge, and we are only able to do it with the dedication, the passion, and the commitment of the MBTA team. So just thank you all. I deeply, deeply appreciate the amazing amount of work that you do.